Colleagues, we'll get ready to vote. Everybody has a copy of the voting list, correct? Good. The first bill we have on the list is House Bill 190. Vice Chair.
House Bill 190 establishes a workers' compensation occupational disease presumption for first responders who are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder by a licensed psychologist or psychiatrist and meet other specified requirements.
Excused are Johnson and Arentz. Yeah. Next bill. Apologize. All in favor of refer to summer interim study, say aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next bill.
House Bill 253 is the departmental bill cleaning up references for the Maryland Cannabis Administration. There are a number of changes in the amendments. Almost all of them are technical references to ATCC being moved over to MCA. One substantive, not substantive, but minor change is that was requested is moving back the termination of the current delivery privilege by 1 year to July 1 of 25 rather than July 1 of 24.
The amendment.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. On the bill as amended.
The bill is amended.
On the bill as amended.
Give me a second, please. Yep.
Brief indulgence. We do have a question from Delegate Rose.
I just had a question. So I was reading through the amendments and it wasn't mentioned. So the amendments that were brought by MACO and MML, were they incorporated the setback to from 1,500 to 2,000?
This is a different bill.
Oh, it's a different bill. Sorry.
This is the departmental House 253.
Okay.
Change.
Sorry.
You're speaking of House Bill 805.
Correct.
The bill is amended. Oh wait, we did that.
We had improperly seconded. Let's just go down the list. Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Waffo. Delegate Howard. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier-Odago. Delegate Adams. Delegate Arentz is excused. Delegate Pippi. Delegate Jackson. Delegate Johnson is excused. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Ampry. Delegate Weibel. Weibel is a no. Delegate Fisher is excused. And Delegate Queen. Bill passes. Next bill, please.
Next bill is from Delegate Chi's House 265. This is the bill that removes prior education requirements before examination for a number of classes of life, health, and property and casualty insurance producers. The amendments in your packet restores some of those educational requirements for a couple of the limited lines that do not actually have an examination.
With the amendment.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
On the bill,
Bills amended.
any discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Vice Chair,
Aye.
Delegate Harrison, Delegate Bluafo, Delegate Howard, Delegate Charkoudian, Delegate Rose, Delegate Pruski, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Chi, Delegate Frazier Odago,
Aye.
Delegate Adams, Delegate Aaron's is excused, Delegate Pippy, Delegate Jackson, Delegate Johnson is excused, Delegate Rogers, Delegate Amprey, Delegate Weibel, Delegate Fisher is excused, and Delegate Queen. Bill moves favorable with amendments. Next bill.
Okay. House Bill 323. We are secondary to the Environment and Transportation Committee. The bill as it came in would have simply added Chair of the Public Service Commission, the Commission on Climate Change. The amendments from were adopted by the ENT Committee. Do two things. One, they have their usual pile-on amendment of co-sponsors. And then they also add well, that's what it's called. And then the other amendment is to add the secretary, the head of the Emergency Management Agency, also as a member of the commission.
Move the amendment.
All in favor of the amendment, say aye. Any opposed?
Move the bills amended.
On the bill as amended, any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Vice Chair,
Aye.
Delegate Harrison, Delegate Bluafo, Delegate Howard, Delegate Charkoudian, Delegate Rose, Delegate Pruski, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Chi, Delegate Frazier Odago, Delegate Adams, Delegate Aaron's is excused, and Delegate Pippy, Delegate Jackson, Delegate Johnson is excused, Delegate Rogers, Delegate Amprey, Delegate Weibel, Delegate Fisher is excused. Delegate Weiber, you were a yes. Delegate Fisher is excused, and Delegate Queen. Bill passes as amended. Next bill.
Bill's withdrawn.
It's
Move a consent calendar for, move unfavorable on a consent calendar for House Bills 360, 1135. And
660,
35.
1135.
last bill on the voting list.
wait, I'm sorry. It's 1135.
Yeah. There have been a couple of iterations of this list.
Wait, is 1145 even on the list? What is and who does it say is the sponsor of that one? 1145. Okay.
Well,
We're fine? Okay, it's an old list. All right, thank you. Okay, we'll move on. Mr. Vice Chair. Withdrawals.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been seconded.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Move on.
House Bill 426 requires a place of public accommodation that is a motion picture house to provide access to fully operational and well-maintained closed captioning technology for the general public for each screening of a motion picture that is produced and offered with closed caption.
We're going to hold this bill. There's some amendments from the Senate side. I believe there's a little bit of bouncing back and forth. But nonetheless, we're going to go and hold this bill for amendment. Bill.
Okay. House Bill 518 would have the Public Service Commission conduct a study of performance-based regulation.
Move on favor.
Any discussion on the unfavorable? Yes.
We've done, the study's been done, because I would support it otherwise, but the study has been done already, so that would be the reason I'm gonna support the unfavorable.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Vice Chair,
Aye.
Delegate Harrison, Delegate Boafo, Delegate Howard, Delegate Charkoudian, Delegate Rose, Delegate Pruski, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Chi, Delegate Frazier Dago, Delegate Adams, Delegate Aaron's is excused, Delegate Pippy, Delegate Jackson, Delegate Johnson is excused, Delegate Rogers, Delegate Amprey, Delegate Weibel, Delegate Fisher is excused, and Delegate Queen. Okay, bill moves unfavorable. Next bill, please.
House Bill 520 establishes that a complaint filed with the State Real Estate Commission alleging an advertising violation may be made anonymously.
Any discussion on the bill?
520.
Delegate Adams?
There are a series of bills that the realtors were asking for. Was this one of their bills?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Seeing none.
Move favorable.
Move favorable. Apologize. It was probably seconded. Yeah. There's no. Okay, Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Harrison, Delegate Boafo, Delegate Howard, Delegate Charkoudian, Delegate Rose, Delegate Pruski, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Chi, Delegate Frazier Dago, Delegate Adams, Delegate Aaron's is excused, Delegate Pippy, Delegate Jackson, Delegate Johnson is excused, Delegate Rogers, Delegate Amprey, Delegate Weibel, Delegate Fisher is excused, Delegate Queen. Bill moves favorable. Next bill, please.
Aye.
Correct. We're holding that bill. Next bill is 584.
House Bill 584 establishes additional disease presumptions for public safety employees who contract thyroid, colon, or ovarian cancer that is caused by contact with a toxic substance encountered in the line of duty.
Move favorable.
Any discussion on the bill? Hearing none. Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Harrison, Delegate Boafo, Delegate Howard, Delegate Charkoudian, Delegate Rose, Delegate Pruski, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Chi, Delegate Frazier Dago, Delegate Adams, Delegate Aaron's is excused, Delegate Pippy, Delegate Jackson, Delegate Johnson's excused, Delegate Rogers, Delegate Amprey, Delegate Weibel, Delegate Fisher is excused, and Delegate Queen. Bill passes. Next bill, please.
House Bill 602 incorporates the prohibition of discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation into existing prohibitions against workplace discrimination under the Equal Pay for Equal Work law.
Move favorable.
Any discussion on this bill?
Oh, Jesse.
Delegate Pippy.
Thank you. I think the concern, I mean, looking at the testimony bill, the only real concern there seems to be is related to religious organizations and.
That we're not including in this bill. There's two separate bills. The other bill was Delegate Fair's bill that addressed the targeted the religious organization. That is not this bill. They have the same exemptions they've always had.
Okay, because I was looking at and thank you for that. That might be helpful. Yeah, I was looking at the Catholic Conference's testimony. So just for the record, so Delegate Fair's bill was specific to religious organizations.
Very much so.
And this bill is just across the board.
Across the board.
So
But religious organizations are allowed to have that exemption.
So currently in law, and then I'll be done. I know it's late. So you're already prohibited in law to discriminate on the basis of sex or gender identity. So this just adds sexual orientation, which is
Correct. Gender identity obviously being transsexual population and orientation being homosexual, lesbian. I'm sure there are others. What'd you say? I apologize. Correct, straight.
So like, well, no, I won't use that example, but Seth. So if Seth wanted to work at,
established that was owned by non-heterosexuals, I couldn't be discriminated against. That's the way I read the bill, and that's why I'm going to support the
Exactly
legislation.
what this bill does.
Thank you.
Delegate Adams. Good,
It's a robust exchange.
thank you.
My questions have been answered.
Thank you. Delegate Pippy, thank you for leading the debate. Thank you. Okay. All right, I think a bill's been probably moved and seconded. Delegate Crosby,
Aye.
Delegate Harrison, Delegate Boifo, Delegate Howard, Delegate Charkoudian, Delegate Rose, Delegate Pruski, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Chi, Delegate Frazier Dago, Delegate Adams, Delegate Aaron's is excused, Delegate Pippy, Delegate Jackson, Delegate Johnson is excused, Delegate Rogers, Delegate Amprey, Delegate Weibel. What do you say? Pass? No, you can pass. Yeah, you can pass. You're good. Delegate Fisher's excused. Delegate Queen. Bill passes. No amendments. Next bill, please.
House Bill 604 authorizes employers to grant a hiring and promotion preference to the spouse of an eligible service member.
Move favorable.
On the bill, any discussion?
We had the amendment adding uniform services from armed services. I think we had submitted that. So
Well, is this, no. So the bill was, I guess, and I guess where we have to is a policy matter as far as doing a verbal amendment. I believe your amendment was changing it from armed services to uniform services.
that's correct, Mr. Chair,
And that amendment does, and why is that different?
because that is more inclusive. It includes the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, the Public Health Service, and the Coast Guard.
So the question is, Bob, can we do a verbal amendment or do we need to hold it for?
Very small thing.
Is there a lot? Is there a lot? Apologize. We'll do a verbal. Okay, so before we step back,
Sorry. I'll withdraw my favorable motion.
thank you. So now we're back on the amendment. We've all heard the amendment. All in favor of the amendment, say aye. I'm sorry, you have a question, Seth?
It was my understanding that the intent of the bill by the bill sponsor and the gentlelady, his wife that came up to talk about it, it was mostly about resources and income, and I'm just unsure about the resources and disparity in income between active service members and their families and members of the Oceanic. What did you say? The National Oceanic, NOAA, and other organizations. So not that I'm trying to diminish what they do. I think what they do is absolutely important, but I feel like it's outside of the spirit of the bill.
And also the Coast Guard.
Yeah, Coast Guard's the big one.
Well, they could be a separate entity. I mean, they're included under the Department of Homeland Security and DOD, so they are the military.
Under this bill, that'd be considered though.
Right, but we'd also be considering some other bodies that we've given extensive privileges to as well.
I don't
the
disagree.
state.
I understand your point.
And to me, again, it's about
Diminishing.
well, it's about wealth disparity essentially between military families, and I don't know if there's that large amount of wealth disparity between service members serving in NOAA and their spouses versus someone who's deployed with this special forces group and out.
No, I
picking up what I'm laying down.
totally understand where you're going. This is just one of those.
Mr. Chair, I'm happy to hold it to give the good delegate an opportunity to look at it. As I do recall, there was no fiscal impact with adding the uniform services versus.
I don't think it was a fiscal impact he was worried about as far as that fiscal note. I believe he was talking about, is it necessary for people that work for NOAA? Like, is there such a financial disparity that there exist in the enlisted versus the, the deployed enlisted soldiers.
And my objective isn't to hold up the governor's
Yeah.
bill. I just
It
want to,
just seems like, basically what he's saying is, he doesn't agree with the amendment, I take it.
well, to some degree, I guess I have a question with it. I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater here,
Sure.
but like, I just,
Go ahead, Mr. Vice Chair.
I was gonna,
Right, we're still discussing the
I
amendment.
don't know.
Doug Harrison.
Do know that that we have here amongst our members, the spouse of one who may not, and I apologize that I don't know all of the branches and the ranks, but may not, I don't know if they were necessarily considered armed forces, but was certainly is considered a military spouse. And I'm not sure if Delegate Rogers,
What are we talking, what branch?
So
that's the question. I'm not quite sure.
So, Mr. Chair, I believe she's referring to Delegate Crutchfield, whose husband was a member of the Public Health Service before he passed. And so by not including the Public Health Service, which is part of the uniformed services, she would be excluded, as well as was the lady who testified, Captain Lynn Nash, for the record, that she was excluded from the bill because all of the Public Health Service members, which are considered uniformed services, are not a part of it as it's listed as armed forces. Yes.
Yes. No. Any other questions on the amendment?
The amendment.
We're gonna explain the amendment one more time.
Go ahead, Mike.
Sure. So the way the bill is currently listed, it mentions armed forces. What the amendment does and what was requested by some of the proponents, particularly the Military Maryland Coalition, is that you include the uniformed services. The uniformed services adds the Public Health Service, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, and the Coast Guard when we are not at war. So those things, those services which are not part of the armed forces are included. So it gives those spouses the same rights and privileges.
Delegate Chief.
Okay, so how broadly do we define public health services?
So the U.S. Public Health Service is a uniformed service. It has approximately 55 members, headquarters in Bethesda, Maryland, which is where their headquarters is at. They support the medical mission of the Indian Health Services, the armed forces when called upon to deploy, which sometimes they are.
55 members?
Yep.
5,500 total members.
5,500.
Okay.
But
all
they're
right.
spread, not just in Maryland, that's all across the country.
Sure.
So Maryland probably has a couple hundred.
They said 55.
Thank you.
Any further questions on the amendment? On favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye. Move the bill as amended.
Any discussion on any opposition on the amendment? Oh, no, now we're on the bill. All in favor of the bill? Was it seconded? Is there any opposition on this bill? Wyval? Okay. Move on to the next bill then. Okay.
House Bill 663, this committee is secondary to Ways and Means. We've heard this before. This was the bill to take the tax rate for ready-to-drink cocktails, which because they contain liquor, are currently taxed as liquor, and change their tax rate to be that of, on the alcohol tax, to be that of wine.
Move on favor.
Any discussion on the unfavorable? Hearing none, Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison, Delegate Boafo, Delegate Howard, Delegate Charkoudian, Delegate Rose. You're against the unfavorable.
Correct.
I believe it. Delegate Pruski, Delegate Fennell, Delegate Turner, Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Chi, Delegate Frazier Hidalgo, Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's is excused. Delegate Pippy. Delegate Jackson. Delegate Johnson is excused. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher is excused. Delegate Queen. All right, next bill. House Bill 679.
House Bill 679 authorizes an individual who has submitted an application to the Secretary of the State Police for registration as a security systems technician to
Any questions on the bill and discussion? Delegate Adams.
Was there any opposition? Okay.
Right, on the favorable, was it seconded? Mr. Vice Chair.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Hidalgo. Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's is excused. Delegate Pippy. Delegate Jackson. Delegate Johnson's excused. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher's excused, and Delegate Queen. Bill passes, no amendments. Next bill.
House Bill 702 exempts minor league baseball players who are compensated in accordance with the terms of a collective bargaining agreement that provides for the wages and working conditions of employees from the Maryland Wage and Hour Law.
Move favorable.
Any discussion on the bill? Hearing none. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose. Delegate Pruski.
Aye.
Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Hidalgo. Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's is excused. Delegate Pippy. Delegate Jackson. Delegate Johnson is excused. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher is excused, and Delegate Queen. Passes. Next bill.
House Bill 738 increases the amount of general liability insurance that a licensed home improvement contractor must maintain from $50,000 to $500,000.
Any discussion on the bill? It's been Delegate Adams.
Okay, I'm going to support the bill because I don't think you can buy $50,000 insurance policies anymore. That 300,000 probably is the minimum, but most policies are much more than that anyhow. So
Okay,
I think it's an antiquated thing that I support.
thank you. Any other discussion on the bill? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose. I'm sorry. You're no. Delegate Pruski.
Aye.
Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Hidalgo.
Aye.
Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's is excused. Delegate Pippy. Delegate Jackson. Delegate Johnson is excused. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher is excused. And Delegate Queen. Passes favorably. Next bill.
House Bill 749 authorizes a corporation to adopt emergency bylaws and establishes related provisions applicable to an emergency. It clarifies statutory provisions related to a corporation's acquisition of its own stock and alters some specified definitions.
Favorable.
Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none. Delegate Crosby.
Aye.
Delegate Harrison. Delegate Boafo. Delegate Howard. Delegate Charkoudian. Delegate Rose. Delegate Pruski. Delegate Fennell. Delegate Turner. Delegate Valderrama. Delegate Chi. Delegate Frazier Hidalgo. Delegate Adams. Delegate Aaron's is excused. Delegate Pippy. Delegate Jackson. Delegate Johnson's excused. Delegate Rogers. Delegate Amprey. Delegate Wyval. Delegate Fisher is excused and Delegate Queen. Next bill is hold. This is last.
Next bill, taken off. Not on the list anymore. 11:35, we've already voted.
Yeah, we already voted.
Yeah, so we're done.
Okay.
Done. It's off the list. All right, colleagues, just make sure, if you are a floor leader on a bill, then make sure you get your book and you're studied up. And remember, the job when you're defending your bill is to answer the questions. It's not to say you have the votes, because we know we have the votes. We don't need to, because there's not about a might versus right. You should be both. So make sure that you defend your bills properly and prepare. If there's any questions, please reach out. Thank you guys very much. Have a good weekend. Brief indulgence. Hold on one second, guys.